Hi, and welcome to The Seeker
and The Skeptic.
I'm Kat, and I'm the flaky, unpredictable, maybe a bit irrational Seeker.
And I'm Rebecca. I'll be your sarcastic, grumpy, close-minded, skeptical host. Or maybe we should just be ourselves.
Sounds good to me. This podcast is going to dive deep into the controversial topics that some may call New Age, or woo-woo, or just plain foolish.
And hopefully look at them with a skeptical but open-minded approach that will encourage understanding and acceptance from both the skeptics
and the seekers.
On this minisode, we'll be answering the one question all our listeners, seekers or skeptics, are desperate to ask.
What's your spirit animal?
Oh yeah, that's the question. I can't imagine a more relevant or important question, but if you can, please contact us via Twitter @SeekerSkeptic or email us at hello@seekerandskeptic.com.
Ask us your question and we'll do our very best to answer in a future episode.
Okay, so what is a spirit animal? What is this thing we're talking about?
Right. When I was, looking this up, I found out that it exists in lots of different cultures. But I think it's, in indigenous cultures, it's often referred to as a totem animal.
Yeah. Totem is it's a word from a specific tribe. I can't remember which one. But it's derived from, I think it's called I'm going to pronounce this terribly, but it's like dudum or something like that. And then the totem is derived from that word.
And what is it? Is it like this?
No, that's the thing. So there's loads of things that are kind of like spirit animals in different cultures. And it seems to be a common feature of animistic religions, which is when you attribute spiritual... There's our spirit animal right there. I don't know if listeners can hear that. That's spirit cat. But so it's when you ascribe a sort of spiritual essence to everything, like to rocks and to trees and everything. That's what people call animism. And it seems like almost all of those cultures that have those sort of beliefs also have some sort of form of spirit animal. But specifically the totem animals are much more like they represent a whole tribe. So your tribe would have this one totem. It would almost be like your surname.
And it would be sacred, right? There would be something...
And depending where you're from, so in Aboriginal Australia culture, they will have different tribes for the different genders, different totems for the different genders.
Yeah,
they wouldn't call them totems. Obviously, they have their own words for them. And then they'd have different totems for different other social groupings, like if you're more of a hunter or more of a stay-at-home sort of person, or if you mainly live in this area or mainly live in that area. And there will be all sorts of rules that go along, or sometimes there will be rules that go along with your totem. So, for example, maybe you're not allowed to eat your totem.
Okay.
Maybe there are special prayers or things you do directed to your totem. So it's not quite the same as how sort of New Agey people talk about spirit animals.
Right,
today.
They're closer to gods in that sense.
Yeah, somewhere between gods and symbols of the tribe.
Yeah,
symbols of the group.
It makes me think of I guess it was ancient Greeks, or at least Hellenistic cultures, who had daimons, who were, there were personal ones, like these little spirit guides, but there were also ones that you would have the daimon of the house and the doorway, and as far as I know, these kind of spirit creatures. And I think this is where the idea of spirit guide might have come from. But I feel like for me, a spirit guide or a spirit animal is more personal to the individual.
Definitely, yeah. That's the way you find people talking about it online.
Yeah, and it's something that guides us to our higher purpose or calling.
Yeah. In fact, the other sort of thread feeding into this is familiar animals.
Yes.
In European folklore, you have this idea that a witch or a cunning person or anyone who is practicing the dark arts, or maybe the light arts, even a positive magician could have a familiar, which is like a little animal, sometimes literally a cat that is a physical cat, that goes out and does their dirty work on the astral plane and maybe physically as well.
So they assist them in their magical...
Exactly. So that's that kind of thing of assisting you. It's all sort of bundled together. And the reason it's like that, the reason why our conception of spirit animals is such a mishmash, we haven't even got into the African spirit animal situation. That's really interesting too. But the reason why it's all such a mess is because of one guy, Michael Harner. He wrote The Way of the Shaman in 1980. And he introduced the term power animal. And basically his definition of power animal is how New Age people think of spirit animal today. And he, despite using a term that, power animal sounds kind of like it's linked to spirit animal and this kind of evokes Native American type stuff, what he was describing in that book was very inspired by familiars. And by his recent ayahuasca trip.
How funny.
It all comes back round to the mother.
Yeah, it's hard not to kind of see some kind of animal that you relate to in some way, or that becomes very important when you are experiencing that, as we found out.
Yes, it's kind of like an intuitive idea that lots of people come to from different directions.
Yeah.
I think now in pop culture, people have that, that classic joke, like my spirit animal is, I don't know, Ricky Gervais.
Right. Yeah, it's a funny thing to say about somebody.
My spirit animal is definitely not Ricky Gervais, by the way.
I don't know.
I don't know why that name popped into my head. He's in the running, is he?
He is definitely in the running. So do you think that this is cultural appropriation?
Well, I was much more sympathetic to the argument that it was cultural appropriation until I looked into where it came from and realised that it was so diverse.
Sure.
Like, if it's cultural appropriation, which culture?
Yeah, exactly. Like, chances are you've got something in your culture that had a spirit animal of some kind.
Yeah.
It's allowed.
And it's also not, it's certainly not done in a way that is cruel
or disrespectful,
or mocking or disrespectful. I'm sure there are people, there are always bastards out there, but generally the people who are doing this, it's a nice way. It's not like they're taking the piss out of people with it.
So how do you find your spirit animal? I mean, I'm sure listeners will want theirs, right now.
Yeah, so if you're desperate to know, I went to the source of all this sort of wisdom, Goop. Are you familiar with Goop?
Is this something to do with Miss Paltrow?
It is, yeah.
Paltrow. She's my spirit animal. She's not my spirit animal.
So they went with the intuition idea. So on the article, the Goop article on spirit animals, they said the way to find your spirit animal is quite simply to ask the animal to show itself to you.
But how can you do that? What animal are you asking? You're just asking the ether?
Yeah, you open yourself up to all of the animals in the world.
It's overwhelming.
And you say, spirit animal.
Show yourself.
Show yourself.
Okay.
And then, you do this with meditation and some crystals, obviously. And then, in the weeks and months and years after you make that prayer, you start noticing repetitive encounters with animals, or maybe you just see pictures of them on Instagram, or maybe you meet people with names that are animal related. It's just it's basically you prime yourself to look for examples of a specific animal, and then every day we see lots of different animals, obviously, and you go, well, that's my spirit animal. That's how it works.
Yeah. Well, I must say my experience was kind of like this, as much as I'm making fun, right? I don't think I really had a strong intention ever to find my spirit animal, but intuitively, as they say, I just felt like it was a snow fox. And I kind of wanted to be a cat because that would be fitting. Listeners, my name is Kat. But it just wasn't happening. And the only thing that I was getting was specifically a white fox. And then I had this incident on a plane recently where I was kind of going off into a fantasy world, as you do, trying to fall asleep, just being like, I'm just going to think of stuff that's not stressful. So I was imagining myself as this kind of Game of Thrones-y fantasy creature who had a spirit animal, had my fox. And see, I hadn't had any instances in the external world where my spirit animal was confirmed. I just kind of imagined that it would be a fox. And when I got off the plane, got the train, got picked up, right maybe 2 meters away from the car was a fox. It wasn't a snow fox because I live in England, but it was like a regular British
just
fox.
Roaming around,
and it wasn't even roaming. So no, I was in a car at this point. This is Croydon. It's not exactly the most rural place.
No, but it is home to a large urban fox population.
So anyway, there was this fox, magical fox, was standing there, just chilling out. So, I stared at it for a while. And then not maybe a week or two later, very similar incident with another fox, and I sent you a photo of it pretty much instantly.
I can confirm there is evidence.
There was definitely, I saw a fox.
Maybe we should put the photo on our Instagram.
Yes, we can do that. I will out the fox, even though he is my spirit animal. It might be a bit disrespectful, but fine. And it has nothing to do with the fact that the time of all of this happening was February, which happens to be, I believe, probably fox mating season.
Oh yeah, I bet it is.
Yeah, I mean, this is literally when you hear them at night, making their fun sounds.
Yeah.
So But the thing is, when I told some American friends, they were like, "Oh, wow, you saw a fox." I realized that you don't see foxes that commonly.
Oh, really?
In at least the people stateside that I was talking to. Whereas in the UK, I mean, urban areas,
Yeah,
like,
you see them all the
just
time.
all the time.
Yeah.
So anyway, but what I am trying to say is I've never seen two foxes so close up, so close together in time, so related to my spirit animal quest. So I'm going to go with it's magic.
So, of course. So, in the Goop article, Gwyneth Paltrow, I assume she writes all of the articles on Goop.
Yeah, my hands.
She said that spirit animals have a message or a guidance or medicine for you, and you can learn about yourself by reflecting on the characteristics of the animal.
So the fox is a trickster. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Well, I looked up fox as a spirit animal to see if I could get any help for you.
Thank you.
This is from trustedmediums.com. Sorry, trustedpsychicmediums.com.
Okay.
So you know they're good. And this is what I've got. As someone who has a fox as a spirit animal, it says, "You are gentle and kind, but you will not hesitate to be crafty should the situation call for it."
Crafty me.
This is a great example of a rainbow ruse, right? Because it's the one character trait and then the opposite character trait
completely.
bundled into one sentence.
Yeah.
So everyone relates to it.
Yeah.
Okay. You think quickly about the best solutions and move swiftly through challenges and obstacles.
But that's objectively true, and not everyone would say that.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. It's like flattery, which is another brilliant thing to do.
No,
if
it
you're
means
writing
that
these
you're
sort of
bloody
things.
impatient and you can't take your time with anything.
But
It's not
it
a good
says
quality.
you think quickly about the best solutions, not
Yeah.
about the easiest solutions.
Bitchin'.
You have an increased awareness of people's behaviours and how the world works because you spend a great deal of time sharpening your mental skills.
But that's true. I'm not like...
Listeners,
not
if that is
doing
not
that.
true for you...
Well, we've got an intelligent readership. See, I'm doing that thing
Readership.
again. I don't know.
So
Listeners.
intelligent.
Not our listeners, but our readers.
One more. The fox totem usually comes to you when you're about to undergo a period of change, especially one that's tough and unpredictable.
Oh, I think I am all the time.
You're about to undergo change. Yeah, I know. It's vague, but it seems specific in retrospect. So if you read that and then you were made redundant or something, you were like, "Oh, that must have been that fox with that message." But if you read that and everything carried on as normal, you just forget you'd read it.
We'll see. I'll check back in with you.
So these are all what we call Barnum statements, and Kat knows this because I'm always berating her about Barnum statements, but just in case you haven't listened to our entire back catalogue. P.T. Barnum was a showman American guy back in the day, and he used to say we have something for everyone on our show, and that's what these statements are. There's something for everyone. They work best if the subject believes that the statements are crafted specifically for them. So then you sort of you apply your own meaning to what is said.
Right.
And another thing that makes them work better is you have to trust the authority of the trustedmediums.com, trustedpsychicmediums.com. That's why they put trusted in the URL, I guess. And if the traits listed are mainly positive,
right,
you're much more likely to go along with it. So they're doing pretty well over at Trusted Psychic Mediums with their Barnum statements.
Yeah.
The other way you can find a spirit animal is through meditation.
And you experiment with this?
When I was a kid, yeah. Because my stepmother was a shaman, which is another story, which maybe we'll save for an episode on shamanism.
Definitely.
I'm putting shaman in inverted commas for listeners who can't see. Anyway, and she would have weird friends floating in and out of the house all the time, and one of them was really into spirit animals, so they led me on a guided meditation to find my spirit animals. I must have been about 14. And it was basically like, you know how these guided meditations go? It's like, you're walking through a forest and you can feel the wind on your face, and you can hear the rustling of the trees, and it's all beautiful, and you're walking up the path. Oh, you don't know what's at the end of the path. What could it possibly be? We could clip this and make this into a guided meditation that our listeners could see.
Charge $50 a pop.
Yeah, I bet they do.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you're going through the forest, and then you reach a clearing, and you look around, and what do you see? And what I saw, or what I reported back to the hippie who was meditating me, is that how you say it?
Sure.
Guiding me. Was a young stag.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so like a deer with antlers, but not super big ones.
Yeah.
Which is why I inferred that he was juvenile.
I was kind of hoping you'd say a cat, because then I'd have the fox, which is like Rebecca Fox, and you'd have the cat, but
well, maybe
fine.
If I did it again,
Maybe I'll call myself Cat Stag. That's a badass name.
That is a badass name.
Okay. So what does that mean?
good question. Basically, I inferred that it meant that I was kind of adventurous and ready to go out into the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I can't remember exactly what she said, but all good things. Like, look at you, you're powerful, you're a stag.
Yeah.
Go for, you're going to accomplish great things. Those antlers are going to come in one day.
Sure. Nice.
That sort of thing.
I can see them now.
So yeah, and then what you're supposed to do is, as soon as you come out of the guided meditation, write it all down. If I did that bit, I don't remember because I don't have any records of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just got, listeners, if you're following along, go into the woods, go into the clearing, open your third eye, see what you see, come back out, write it all down.
Nice.
Whilst you're in the meditation, don't eat any food or drink any drink that's offered by the Fae folk.
Ooh.
Just a side note that I remember the lady saying to me.
Do you think, that's so great, do you think that it would matter the fact that, you know, culturally we've picked, actually snow foxes don't really exist in the UK, but foxes do. Stags, yes. Where you're setting it, it's like you're talking about quite like a British, I mean, not necessarily, that could be in the States, it could be in a lot of places in Europe as well, but you're not picking the Namibian desert.
Yeah.
And so like you're probably not going to see, okay, that's a bad example, but
it would be weird if a cheetah,
a tiger,
strolled into a clearing in the forest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But maybe that happens to some people.
I don't know. I mean, it's completely irrational, but I feel like you should have a spirit animal from your own like environment.
It feels appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you move to another country and live there for a while, it makes sense. I don't know why I have opinions on this.
No, but I think it's interesting. It feels more fitting. I would be a little bit more, I would reject mine quicker if it wasn't, like, I like cold places, so of course it's going to be a snow fox.
Yeah.
It's not going to be, like I said, it's not going to be a big lion. It's not going to be a baboon. I don't really feel like those animals. I guess I feel like a
you look a
snow
bit like
fox.
a baboon.
I look a bit. It's all coming out now, listeners.
So the other way to find out what your spirit animal is, of course, is how you find out anything about yourself on the internet these days, which is through a quiz.
Quizzes, of course.
So we're going to run through a quick quiz from spiritanimal.info.
Of course.
Which, I mean, it sounds super legit. It's
Definitely
only 7
authority.
Questions. So, Kat, what's your favourite natural element? Would you say it's air, earth, fire, water, wood, or space?
Fuego! Fire.
Fire. Okay. Continue. There's so many ads on this. It's insane. Okay, so you have to answer this, rate this from very accurate to very inaccurate. I feel at peace with myself most of the time.
Accurate.
Fairly accurate.
Yeah, fairly accurate.
Sweet. I tend to be more down to earth than head in the clouds.
Yeah, fairly accurate.
This is obviously trying to match you with
It's
an animal that
elements.
fits your personality.
I think it's really elemental. Anyway.
I find it easy to approach others.
Inaccurate.
Somewhat inaccurate or very inaccurate?
Somewhat inaccurate.
Okay. I frequently do things without a specific schedule or plan.
Oh, fuck no. Like, very inaccurate. I'm trying to
There's
not,
lots of
though.
credit card ads on this site. This is
I thought it was like,
an interesting insight.
buy a spirit animal, like ads for buying
Oh no,
wild.
here's a vintage woven rope wolf bracelet.
Sounds right.
For only $13.95. That's American dollars. If anyone's interested. The typical ordinary way feels like a betrayal of myself.
Very accurate.
I frequently come up with ideas or solutions out of nowhere.
Fairly accurate? It's pushing it.
Okay. The more useful I am to others, the happier I am.
Oh, very accurate.
Aww. I spend a lot of time observing before I act.
Fairly accurate. Oh, that's not really true either.
This is more than 7 questions. It said so. Oh god, there's a pop-up. Okay, it's fine. Back on track. I like to be impressive to others.
Very accurate. See, this is very personal. I feel like I'm bearing my soul to you guys.
I'm always looking for new things to experience.
Very accurate.
This really hooked me in with the 7-question claim. I live a fast-paced existence.
Fairly accurate.
How would you rather spend your free time? I'd rather go outdoors and walk or hike in a park nearby. Building
Rebecca's
something
answer.
or engaging in a creative activity like arts and crafts.
Arts and crafts.
Video games.
Arts and crafts.
Getting together with friends. Reading favourite book.
Ooh, the book one through me.
It says reading my favourite book or website in bed or on my couch.
Oh yeah, it's that one.
Website is 2 words.
Yeah, I'll go for that. website is too
I'm just saying.
Just saying.
Okay, we're almost done. I require lots of time alone to recharge. Very accurate.
Oh, yeah. Didn't even have to ask.
I seek out the secret of the universe. That's literally your name.
Very
The
accurate.
Seeker.
Good lord.
Okay. See my results. It's loading, people.
What do we have to buy in the meantime?
We have, this looks like an army recruitment ad.
It's so varied. I guess all sorts of people look for their spirit
Exactly.
animal.
Everyone's interested in the spirit animal. You are the tiger.
Okay, yeah.
What it means
yeah.
to be the tiger. In the kingdom of spirit animals, the tiger puts a special emphasis on raw feelings and emotions. The tiger spirit animal symbolizes primal instincts, unpredictability, and ability to trust yourself.
I do call myself unpredictable in like the Seeker and the Skeptic trailer.
And you wear you wear like leopard print.
A lot of leopard. I'm wearing a leopard print skirt right now.
So that's probably betrayal of the tiger.
Big cat.
By affinity with this spirit animal, you may enjoy dealing with life matters spontaneously, trusting your intuition, and acting fast when needed. That doesn't sound like you.
No, but it sounds like what I'm trying to work on. The intuition thing, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So I did this same quiz a little while ago, and I got the snake. Yeah, that's a hard one to deal with.
No, that's really cool. Like the snake is it's like the dragon. Jeez.
It said the snake animal meaning is powerfully connected to life force and primal energy.
Damn, that's badass.
Yeah, in many cultures it's revered as a powerful totem representing the source of life.
Yeah, it's a big deal, like in every culture. So maybe we should rename the podcast The Snake and the Tiger. That's cool. That sounds very cool. Let's write a children's book about our adventures.
So what do you think, like, overall, why are people doing this? What are people getting out of having spirit animals?
Okay, so I think a few things. I like this idea of like matching yourself to this other like version of yourself, this animalistic version of yourself. I think is quite interesting in the same way that we find horoscopes and personality type tests interesting.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, it's just like
a reflection of
how
we want to see ourselves.
Yeah,
maybe.
and then you can maybe see differences, and that's interesting too.
Yeah, and I do like this idea of there being something that's guiding you. So I think we can agree that intuition is a real thing, even if it's just like instinct,
picking up on little signals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even if it's just that, I think it's nice, this idea of like personifying that into an animal or like another being. Why do I like that? It feels comforting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I talk about the daimon on my podcast, and I feel like my exploration into that was really like, I don't care what this thing is. I love this idea. It goes back in history. It's clearly a useful thing to people. Socrates had a daimon.
What was he? Should we do a quiz for him?
No. It was what? I don't. That doesn't make sense. I think Socrates is my spirit animal. No, it basically told him what not to do. It told him not to run away when he was meant to drink the hemlock.
Oh, so it's almost like the guardian angel in Thelema.
It is the same thing. Yeah. So
would a daemon usually be an animal, or could it just be any kind of spirit guide?
No, I think it can take any form, and you probably don't really necessarily see it. But the Philip Pullman novels were the ones that kind of personified the idea of, I guess it's more pronounced daemon. I'm calling it the daimon, but it doesn't really matter. Mine looks like half man, half fox.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, mine just looks like a normal stag. Although, to be fair,
no, I'm talking about the daimon. This is your spirit animal. Maybe they're different, maybe they're the same.
Oh.
But I'm just saying that my daimon, up until it's separate to my spirit animal.
Oh, okay.
What are we even going into? This is like the imaginary realm. The listeners did not ask for this. But it's just, all I'm trying to say with any of these things is that it feels comforting and useful to kind of externalize some of these internal processes.
Yeah, I can see. Like, I was all ready to mock, but I can see why it's as useful as something like tarot. And
let's say you want to tap into a part of yourself that feels maybe hard to access, or I can't act like a tiger. Like, I remember I said to somebody recently, we're talking about spirit animals, as you do, and I was like, I feel like mine could be a cat, but it would be a domestic cat. It wouldn't be a big cat.
Yeah.
We can hear it right now. You can hear the spirit animal.
Domestic cat.
But, we were kind of like joking about that, but it was just a reflection of how I was feeling about myself at the time. Like, I was feeling like a domestic cat. I was not feeling like a fucking tiger.
But today,
I'm feeling
to this quiz,
like a tiger, a little bit, who's a bit scared of the snake, because that's a powerful spirit animal. And that would be a great thing to tap into as well.
Yeah, I don't know, because what are the sort of the features of snakishness?
Well, don't think about snakes in that way. What about how associated with healing they were?
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah. The
Hermes
medical
and
thing.
Asclepius, yeah.
What's that called? With the sword and the snakes?
Caduceus? I don't think I'm saying it right,
Probably,
but
yeah.
Hermes had like 2 snakes and Asclepius had 1 snake. And anyway, I don't know enough about all of the mythology surrounding them, but they weren't bad. They were signs of like, they were healing helpers. Healing helpers.
I think, yeah, so my overall view is I think spirit animals are kind of cute and fine. I think maybe we should stop with the word totem because that is like a...
Maybe that's a bit...
It's not. I mean, it's wrong for one
Right,
thing.
yeah.
Like, they're not totems. Totems are a different thing. And you don't want to potentially upset someone who takes their totem animal very seriously.
Sure.
But seems like a bit of fun, really, doesn't it?
And it can be a bit of fun, and it can be serious, and I think that's why it's so interesting. And listeners, I'm sure a lot of you will want to find out what your spirit animal is by taking this quiz.
Yeah, or
It's
doing
just
my
a fun
amazing
thing.
guiding meditation. Just
That
play
too.
it back slower.
Yeah.
So should we assume animal form and scamper back off into the forest?
Roar. Yes, and when we get back, we'd love to hear what your spirit animal is. So tweet us at Skeptic. Bye. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Let us know with a tweet or an email. We'd really love to hear about your experiences.
Yes, please tell us what we got wrong. You can email us at hello@seekerandskeptic.com and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at seekerskeptic.
You'll find the show notes for this and every episode at seekerandskeptic.com.
And if you're interested, you can find my skeptically themed comics at rebeccaonpaper.com or follow me on Twitter at rebeccaonpaper.
And I'm at yoga_astrology on Twitter. And you can find me exploring the intersection of yoga and astrology at yogaandastrology.com.
If you liked what you heard and fancy supporting the show and spreading the word, we'd really appreciate a rating and review in the Apple Podcast Store or wherever you're listening.
Or just tell somebody you know about the show. Thanks for listening.